CC. Shall we start? Start the live stream. Yes. Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Let us start now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good evening, one and all. Let us start our one-day national level webinar with the blessings of God Almighty. I am Dr. Sangeeta, Head PG Department of English, Thiruvalluvar University, Constituent College, Kallakruchi, affiliated to Thiruvalluvar University, Vellore. I feel immensely honored to organize such wonderful webinars for the welfare of the students and the freshers, and also for the staff members, and also to the some of the public, because we are conducting some of the webinars in RRC also, and we have conducted some webinars on placement cell and so on. So we feel very proud to present such webinars, and I feel immensely honored and pleasured to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor S. Thamarichelvi ma'am, and our respected Registrar, Professor Syed Safi sir, for allowing us to conduct such webinars for the welfare of the students and also the staff members. And I welcome all our fellow participants, because they are all willingly and actively participating in all our Thiruvalluvar University College Kallakurichi's webinar, and their patience for receiving the certificates, because some delay has taken place in our certificate issuing due to the busiest scheduled in the college level. And I thank all the participants, and I welcome you all. I welcome our guest resource person, Dr. Mochumi Dutt from Assam, going to present the curriculum and development of language in the second session. I welcome you, ma'am, and I would like to start my presentation, Introduction to Language and Linguistics. Language is a system of conventional spoken, manual, or written symbols by means of which human beings, as members of a social group and participants in its culture, express themselves. The functions of language include communication, the expression of identity, play, imaginative expression, and emotional release. YouTube started. This is okay. And let us see some of the characteristics and the definitions of language. Many definitions of language has been proposed. Henry Sweet, an English phonetician and language scholar, stated language is the expression of ideas by means of speech sounds combined into words. Words are combined into sentences. This combination answering to that of ideas into thoughts. The American linguist Bernard Bloch and George L. Trager formulated the following definitions. They said a language is a system of arbitrary vocal symbols by means of which a social group cooperates. Any succinct definition of language makes a number of presuppositions, number of questions. The first, for example, puts excessive weight on thought, and the second uses arbitrary in a specialized, though legitimate way. A number of considerations marked in italics below enter into a popular we can notify it in the italic words to identify the understanding of the language by the writing. And in spoken language, of certain set consists of noises resulting from movements of certain organs within the throat and the mouth. In signed languages, those symbols may be hand or body movements, gestures, or facial expressions. By means of those symbols, people are able to impart information, to express feelings and emotions, to influence the activities of others, and to comfort themselves with varying degrees of friendliness or hostility toward person who make use of substantially the same set of symbols. And different systems of communication constitute different languages. The degree of difference needed to establish a different language cannot be stated exactly. No two people speak exactly alike. Hence, one is able to recognize the voice of friends over the telephone and to keep distinct a number of unseen speakers in a radio broadcast. Yet clearly no one would say that they speak different languages. And generally, systems of communication are recognized as different languages if they cannot be understood without specific learning by both parties. Though the precise limits of mutual intelligibility are hard to draw and belong on a scale rather than or either to either side of a mutual definite dividing line. Substantially different system of communication that may impede by do not prevent mutual comprehension are called dialects of a language. In order to describe the actual different language patterns of the individuals, the term idiolect, meaning the habits of expression of a single person, has been coined. And typically, people acquire a single language initially. Their first language or narrative tongue, the language used by those with whom or by whom they are brought up from infancy. And subsequent, the second languages are learned to different degrees of competence under various conditions. Complete mastery of two languages is designated as bilingualism. In many cases, such as upbringing by parents using different languages at home, or being raised within a multilingual community, children grow up as bilinguals. In traditionally monolingual cultures, the learning to any extent of a second or other language is an activity superimposed on the prior mastery of one's first language and is a different process intellectually. Then language, as described above, is a species or specific to human beings. Other members of the animal kingdom have the ability to communicate through vocal noises or by other means, but the most important signal feature characterizing human language, that is every individual language, against every known mode of animal communication, and is its infinite productivity and creativity. Human beings are unrestricted in what they can communicate. No area of experience is accepted as necessarily incommunicable, though it may be necessary to adapt one's language in order to cope with new discoveries or new models of thought. Animal communication systems are, by contrast, very tightly circumscribed in what may be communicated. Indeed, displayed reference the ability to communicate about things outside immediate temporal and spatial contiguity, which is fundamental to speech. It is found elsewhere only in the so-called language of bees. Able by carrying out various conventionalized movement in or near the hive to indicate to others the location and strength of food sources. But the food sources are the only known theme of this communication system. Surprisingly, however, the system nearest to human language in function belongs to a species remote from humanity in the animal kingdom. On the other hand, the animal performance superficially most like human speech, the mimicry of parrots and of some other birds have been in the company of humans, is wholly derivative and serves no independent communicative function. Humankind's nearest relatives among the primates, though possessing a vocal physiology similar to that of humans, have not developed anything like a spoken language. And it attempts to teach sign language to chimpanzees and other apes through imitation have achieved limited success, though the interpretation of the significance of ape signing ability remains controversial. And in most accounts, the primary purpose of language is to facilitate a communication in the sense of transmission of information from one person to another. YouTube correct. However, the socio-linguistic and psycholinguistic studies have been attention to a range of other function of language. Among these is the use of language to express a national or local identity. Also important are the ludic function of language encountered in such phenomena as puns, riddles, and crossword puzzles, and the range of functions seen in imaginative or symbolic context, such as poetry, drama, and religious expression. And language interacts with every aspect of human life in society, and it can be understood only if it is considered in relation to society. This article attempts to survey language in this light and to consider its various functions and the purpose it can has been made to serve, because each language is both a working system of communication in the period and in the community wherein it is used, and also the product of its history and the source of its future development. Any account of language must consider it from both these points of view. And the science of language is known as linguistics. It includes what are generally distinguished as descriptive linguistics and historical linguistics. Linguistics is now a highly technical subject. It embeds both descriptively and historically such major divisions as phonetics, grammar, semantics, and pragmatics, dealing with detail with these various aspects of language. Linguistics, the scientific study of language, the word was first used in the middle of 19th century to emphasize the difference between a newer approach to the study of language that was then developing and the more traditional approach of philology. The differences were on or largely matters of attitude, emphasis, and purpose. The philologist is concerned primarily with the historical development of languages as it is manifest in written texts and in the context of the associated literature and culture. The linguist, though he may be interested in writing texts and in the development of languages through time, tends to give priority to spoken languages and to the problems of analyzing them as they operate at a given point in time. The field of linguistics may be divided in terms of three dichotomies: synchronic versus diachronic versus, and theoretical versus applied, and micro linguistics versus macro linguistics. Once again, the three terms of dichotomies are synchronic versus diachronic, theoretical versus applied, and micro linguistics versus macro linguistics. Yeah, synchronic description of the language describes the language as it is at a given time. A diachronic description is concerned with the historical development of the language, the structural changes that have taken place in it. The goal of theoretical linguistics is the construction of a general theory of the structure of language, or of a general theoretical framework for the description of languages. The aim of applied linguistics is the application of the findings and techniques of the scientific study of language to practical tasks, especially the elaboration of improved methods of language teaching. Micro linguistics and macro linguistics are not yet well established, and they are in fact used here purely for convenience. The former refers to a narrower, and the later to a much broader view of the scope of linguistics. According to the microlinguistic view, languages should be analyzed for their own sake, and without reference to their social function, to the manner in which they are acquired by children, to the psychological mechanisms that underlie the production and reception of speech, to the library and the aesthetic or communicative functions of language, and so on. In contrast, macrolinguistics embraces all these aspects of language. Various areas within macrolinguistics have been given terminological recognition, psycholinguistics, sociolinguistics, anthropological linguistics, dialectology, mathematical and computational linguistics, and stylistics. Macrolinguistics should not be identified with applied linguistics. The application of linguistics method and concepts to language teaching may well involve other disciplines in a way that microlinguistics does not. But there is, in principle, a theoretical aspect to every part of macro linguistics, no less than to micro linguistics. In addition to these subfields, there are a number of other subfields that cross cut them. The first one is historical linguistics. The historical linguistics is the study of how languages change over time, addressing such questions as why modern English is different from Old English and Middle English, or what it means to say that English and German are more closely related to each other than English and French. Next, the sociolinguistics, the study of how language is used in society, and it addressing such questions as what makes some dialects more prestigious than others, where slang comes from and why it arises, or what happens to languages come together in bilingual communities. That is the socio-linguistics. And the next one is the psycholinguistics, the study of how language is processed in the mind, addressing such questions as how we can hear a string of language noises and make sense of them, and how children can learn to speak and understand the language of their environment as quickly and effortlessly as they do, or how people with pathological language problems differ from people who have normal language. That is the psycholinguistics. Next, the neurolinguistics. The neurolinguistics, that is the study of actual encoding of language in the brain, addressing such questions or which parts of the brain different aspects of language are stored in, how language is actually stored, what goes on physically in the brain when language is processed, or how the brain compensates when certain areas are damaged. So these are all the neurolinguistics. And
present in the morning assembly, or you should prepare a notice on this that we have to just read there in the morning assembly, whatever may be activities learned by the students, giving, encouraged to use in practical field. So create proper environment. Next, LSC approach helps in improving students' language proficiency. When students get more exposures, they automatically can develop their proficiency, their competency, their confidence of using that particular language. So LSC aims to link concept with real life situation. Most important point, whatever the concept, not only in language class, in science class, whatever the concept, students or the learners they are getting, it must be used in the real life situation. So as a whole, LSC here emphasized developing the thinking process of the learners. Thinking process, if they are cognitive, if they get the cognitive development, opportunity of cognitive development, which comes under constructivism, constructive learning, then automatically students can be benefited. They can learn more. Important point regarding language across the curriculum. The curriculum also emphasis on the terms language teachers. Another important point. Language teacher. Who are the language teacher? Generally, the English teacher is language teacher. The Hindi teacher is language teacher for us. But language across the curriculum, this concentrates that each and every teachers are language teachers. Why? Because each and every teachers must use language to teach any subject matter. And must be only described, elaborated using language only. The teacher, if he has the competency level of language, he can simply clarify the subject matter. So each and every teachers are considered as language teachers first, then comes to their particular subject. Science teacher, it may be a mathematics teacher. So LSC, language across the curricular, just considered. It may be maths teachers, but first of all, he is language teacher. Then he can clarify the maths. That is important point. So language across the curriculum acknowledges language learning in meaningful context. In meaningful context. If it is in English classroom environment, students are learning vocabulary, that vocabulary must be in different activities. students must develop, and it should be initiated by the teachers. That is, language across the curriculum concentrates on that point. So here it is emphasized that to provide maximum opportunity to use the concept, compare it, observe it in meaningful context, and assimilate new concept by this. So language across the curriculum is a term which also just integrated, that is modes of human behavior, or modes of human activities. 8 modes of human activities: listening, speaking, reading, writing, viewing, chapping, watching, and moving. Listening, speaking, reading, writing, these are also considered as basic language skills. Listening, speaking, reading, writing, where listening comes first to us. Generally in classroom environment, teacher to introduce reading, that this is A, this is B, and then comes to writing. But listening introduced to the students first. Then language comes to us. Language can be acquired in a natural way. So listening, speaking, reading, writing, these are considered 4 basic language skills. Along with this, there are other 4 activities, and these are viewing, chapping, watching, moving. Suppose just observing the visual express, it may be from the newspaper, from any DVD, CD, so that what may be the visual scene, that is viewing. From that, suppose this is the picture, very nice. From that, one idea comes to us, that is also language. After that view, what chap comes to us? That is chapping. Watching movies, we just watching TV, we just get this term. But watching, yeah, of course, that is also watching, means getting the experience really. Suppose if you face an accident on the road, if you are there, you are watching something, from that you are getting the experience. That is also language, that is also ideas. Moving whole body movement. So how, if I am doing something, I am taking the class, my face expression, facial expression, my eyes, my hand, how it is moving. So everything gives us the ideas, strikes some thought, and all this comes under language. All this comes under language. So language is not only the spoken words, the written words. That is not. Language is more than that. Our thought, our learning, our views, our ideas, whatever, what to do, where to go, everything comes under the term language. Suppose in a classroom environment, we share the point. Suppose in a bus, students are getting problems for something. Then how to solve that? How to solve that immediately? They have to do something. That is also what to do at that point, at that moment. That is also comes under language. So the learning, basically what we learn, everything comes under language. And language across the curriculum concentrates on that. That language is not only confined in a language class, but outside environment. Along with this, outside the classroom environment, in each and every classroom, everywhere we are learning language. That is language across the curriculum. The second point, that is niche of language across the curriculum. I am going to discuss here, share with you. Niche across the curriculum. Teaching is no teaching if there is no learning. Yes. Whatever I am here sharing with you, if there is nothing to take from me, then there is useless speech. So as in classroom environment, teaching is going on. If there is no teaching, there is no learning. Sorry, no learning, then there is no teaching. There must be something there happened. But generally, what we get in practical life, having a BA degree, having an MA degree, one may not write an application without hesitation. Why it is? Why it is? What's the reason? The reason is that due to the use of methodology, the strategy, the techniques, basically by the teacher mainly. Because learners are there, they are gathering there to learn something, but it is in the hand of the teacher, the methodology he is used there. So language across the curriculum is the term which concentrates on that whatever we learn, we must be used in practical life. So there comes a need of just introducing this term language across the curriculum. And secondly, we can think another point from our own experience, that is in our life, may not all of you, but some of you must admit with me that some of you in your life, you meet some teachers with excellent certificate. They may have excellent certificate, but due to their lack of language competency, they cannot express their thought, or in a simple language, they can't reach the students. That means the teacher must have also the communicative skill, and language across the curriculum concentrates on all these things. Here, another point we can think that language learning must be developed contextually. The need of LSE also concentrate, or also we can relate with the point, because here it is concentrate on that language must be learned contextually. So if someone learn contextually, automatically, it would be very useful to him, because he get the command on it. Okay, so that is the need again. Whatever maybe I already describe here about that, if it is about learning vocabulary, learning sentence structure, or any, then what happened? Then the teacher must give optimum opportunities to the learners to develop their skills. Not only, suppose in case of learning vocabulary, not only in writing, but also if you learn this word, you must use in your speech. So there is a need of developing this concept, language across the curriculum. Most important point is the sound knowledge is most important for us, for the learners. So the sound knowledge is only possible through the clear concept of language across the curriculum. Because if it is known to the teachers, to the students, then they are encouraged to develop their development, their skills, they can do language work. Another, suppose the term photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a term where the teacher is, when he is teaching, if he is teaching about photosynthesis using complex or using very difficult word, difficult word, selecting difficult words, not concentrating on the students, then there would be no learning. So he must be concerned the level of the students, their literary background, their language development. Accordingly, he should clarify the topic. He should discuss the topic with them. So it is important for the science teacher to know about the term language across the curriculum, not only science teacher, each and every teacher. The need of language across the curriculum, again, we can think, concentrating on the point CLIL, Content and Language Integrated Learning. If the content and language integrated learning, this term known to the teachers, known to the educators, then automatically the students would be benefited more. They can learn easily. So it is again important point. Because without context, no one can be learned effectively. But if something we get in a context, it is easily we can learn. So language across the curriculum concentrate on this point. So, here, in other words, content subjects provide a context for language, while effective language development facilitates the learning of content subjects. CLIL, the topic is a medium to developing language. On the other hand, the topic is a medium developing language. On the other hand, what is the point? That we are getting the knowledge on a subject matter, on a content through the language. Language development is also going on, and the topic, the sound knowledge about a topic, concerned topic is also can be developed. So it is most important. Again, the need of LSE also concentrate on this point, that no subject stand isolated. No subject stand isolated. So presently, interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary is gaining more attention in educational practices and research. So here, every subject, each and every subject, we can't relate, but no subject can stand isolated. One subject is related with another, one or two or three. And LSE, language across the curriculum, concentrates on this point. So now need, if we think about the need of LSE, being a teacher, I must, or we must admit on introducing the term language across the curriculum. Why? Then only students can develop not only their language competency, but their subject knowledge also on a particular topic. Now I would like to discuss about the benefits of language across the curriculum. Already we discussed about that language across the curriculum is a language enrichment approach. Where it is language enrichment approach, so automatically it can develop all the language skills, basically listening, speaking, reading, and writing. It is not only about a particular language, English, or particular language, Hindi. Here, teachers can introduce according to the comfort level of the students. They can introduce mother tongue also. They can use mother tongue also, but they developing their language skills, all the language skills. So LSC also aims to facilitate the use of language in a variety of meaningful contexts. You get the point that whatever the different learning terms, their terms must be used in a variety of meaningful context. Variety of meaningful context. As far as we are using, so as we are developing. That is, language development is not an easy task. One day activities, one day, it is not after one day practice you can do. There need more practice. The teacher must be keep in mind to introduce the point that mistakes are the strategies of learning. Language across the curriculum also concentrate on this point that teacher should give this attitude to the students that in one day you can't be the master. You need practice. And it's not our mother tongue. It's not our mother tongue. So why you are feeling nervous? Why you are feeling hesitation using this? Time if you are not perfect, accurate, gradually you can develop. Such types of attitude must be created in classroom environment. And LSC, language across the curriculum approach, motivates the students. They reward the students for using whatever the context, whatever the language skills in multilingual skills in every class. Students would be benefited more. And this approach is also a platform for fulfilling cross-cultural and multilingual demands. As a result, it is become for fulfilling our demands. It may be cross-cultural, multilingual demands, because only the concept of language across the curriculum can encourage us to use all these things to create very comfort environment among the students to develop their language skills, their learning, their sound knowledge on a content by applying contextually. Another point is that how teachers are also benefited. Here, it enables teachers to contribute and get support in dealing with language in learning issues, as well as to work for a common target. Already, we just discussed the point that no subject can stand alone. So teachers are there, can contribute for a common target. They are doing something, and it just develop the cooperation. And when they are doing something for a common target, then it would be fruitful more. It would be benefited more. So this approach, language across the curriculum, encourages the teachers to teach the use of language more effectively. How? Because here teachers, when they are introducing any topic in a language class, okay, it's not only their duty to teach the topic, giving question answers, maybe writing on the blackboard, or maybe giving some notes. It's not only their duty. Along with this, they must develop their language skills naturally. So the teacher, Hindi teachers, generally in our condition of Assam, we can just relate this point. That is, if it is a Hindi class, generally students get easy Hindi more than English. So they may get they may score easily in the subject Hindi in the exam, from the examination point of view. We can think like this. But the main point is that the teachers, he doesn't just encourage them. He doesn't encourage them to write an essay by themselves for developing Hindi, speaking in Hindi, speaking skill in Hindi. We don't we need not much efforts. Why? Because our listening skill is strong. From the TV, continuously we are listening to Hindi. Naturally, Hindi comes to us more than English. Okay, so for us to speak Hindi is easy. To do mistake Hindi is also easy for us than English, because we don't feel hesitation in doing mistake in Hindi. But in case of English, we are very conscious. We should not do this. We should not do this like this. That is, teachers here keeping the vital role. Teachers is keeping the vital role. He should ask more questions in that particular target language. If it is Hindi, only in Hindi. If it is English, only in English. Only Assamese. If it is Sanskrit, only Sanskrit. In case of Sanskrit, how much the students can write Sanskrit by themselves? One application essay, maybe not much, as they score more. So language across the curriculum is that approach which encourages the teachers to teach the use of language more effectively. So as a result, it helps the students learn effectively, not only a language, but also a specific subject. Generally, our attitude in learning English, basically school level, generally, that is, think that English is a subject. Only, what is the passing mark? We need the passing marks only. It's very difficult subject. That attitude, if we keep in mind how we can learn that particular subject. But LAC, language approach to curriculum, introduces or concentrates on such point that each and every teachers must be very careful to develop the language skills of the students. The language skills of the students. Another important point regarding the benefits of introducing LAC is that it also minimizes the problems of adjusting to the new medium of instruction and to learn the subject matter. What is it? Suppose your kid, my kid, is in Assamese medium. In Assamese medium up to class 5. He is in or she is in Assamese medium. From class 6, parents wish or we wish him to admit in a English medium background school. But what would be the result? First time, the child may not be adjusted with the environment. Why? Due to the language problems. But language across the curriculum approach, they create such an environment in the school surroundings by the teachers, whereas if they are applying everything, then the child can adjust in that English medium environment also. Why? Because he is learning the language by naturally. That means he will try whatever he is learning to use contextually. So it would be benefited for the students more. I come to the conclusion, but I'd like to discuss more things that for quality education, the concept of language across the curriculum must be known to the teachers, practitioners, or to all who are related with teaching learning process. There need a lot to do from the side of government, educationists, academicians, researchers to introduce the term language across the curriculum in all levels of education for enhancing sound knowledge of the learners. Now, regarding language across the curriculum, this term, though it is introduced in the